Hello, and welcome back to the ministry. And this is the other part of the flow that I wanted to talk about. For some of us, it's the understanding of discernment. You really have to have a level of discernment, especially in this season, because we're coming into a phase where a lot of our blessings and our breakthroughs are about to come find us. As according to Deuteronomy 28:2, it talks about the fact that our blessings shall come and overtake us. Well, there are enemies that are divinely assigned, demonically aligned people that want to come in and separate you from your blessings. But here's the catch that the Lord was kind of having me sit on. Jesus knew Judas was going to betray him. Jesus is God in the flesh, and he was all-knowing. So because he's God in the flesh and he was all-knowing, he knew that Judas was eventually going to betray him. It was part of what was supposed to happen. Some of us are those types of people that be like, I don't want a Judas amongst me. But what does Judas do? Judas prepared Jesus for his last moment. So Judas had to remain there. Some of us, we be like, God, don't send us Judas. Don't have Judas amongst us. We don't need no Judas. We can't have time for no Judas. I don't need to have friends that are enemies. I'd rather just have friends that is friends. I don't need no new friends. I don't need no... We've all heard it. I don't want no enemies, blah, 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 blah. But you be rejected. That's a spirit of rejection. You understand that? It's the spirit to reject people because you don't want to be rejected. Not to mention, some of us, we just simply are at that phase in our lives that we've been through so much warfare, we don't want to have to fight with people that are supposed to be on our team. Point blank, period, to the point. Well, I've heard other influencers even make this point, that you have to be careful because you have to be discerning enough, because there are some people that are allies that have tendencies that God wants these people to be in your life because you're supposed to show them the goodness of God. Because remember, a person betrays you, slaps you in the face, you're supposed to turn the other cheek. A person betrays you 7 times 7 times 70, and you're supposed to keep them. Well, there are some people that they just straightly a person sent from Satan to destroy you. God don't want those people in your life. And some people is just a good-hearted person that has open doors, and they just need to be directed in the right pathway. But we have a tendency, and I remember Sunray Speaks did a video where she talked about some of us, because we have had such a level of warfare, to not have a bitter heart towards people because of the fact that we've been betrayed so many times before. That spirit of rejection will cause us to reject others because of the fact that we've been rejected. And we see a problem. And this is something that when you've had trauma responses, trauma bonds, when you come into a new relationship with people, you see red flags, you're ready to run. Oh, nope, I see that this person is carrying a similar spirit to that. I gotta go. Your cutoff ministry be heavy. Oh, gotta cut this person off. Nope, can't stay in my life. Nope, you taking... Oh, I already done calculated. I've done kept track of the fact that you done betrayed me way too many times. You done took too long to do what is needed necessary. You done. And we be like, I'm cutting this person off. I ain't got time for it. It's taking too long. I gotta go. And God be like, I remember it's an individual that I was um, dealing with business with in relation to, and I was like, God, you want me to cut him off? He said, nope, I want you to pray for him. And it's like, prayers of a righteous man availeth much. And sometimes the Lord will allow that person to remain. But you also have to come into the realization that sometimes you, and this is another lesson I learned. I did. One of the first videos I ever saw from Stephanie P. Smith was this, where she talked about the fact that there are going to be some times that there are people that are going to come into your life, right? That are full of Satan. And in them being full of Satan, you have to operate wisely, because you cut this spirit off too soon, they're going to attack you. This is why the spirit of insinuation, accusation, assassination comes in, because people that operate under what we like to call a narcissistic spirit, which is the spirit of Jezzy, they want to sit, observe, be amongst you, oppress you, so on and so forth. Some of us are discerning enough, Jesus to Judas, recognize, oh, this person is full of it. But sometimes we like, God, you want me to cut that person off? Do you ever wonder if Jesus said, you want me to cut Judas off? Should I cut Judas off? Should I cut Judas off? Because your flesh will tell you, cut that daggone person off, please. But God will say, I need this person to stay here. And you be like, wait, this person is going to betray me. Wait, this person got vilified righteous indignance against me. And God's like, I need you to see something though. Because God will sometimes do that to you. It's not so much that he wants you to keep this person around forever. It's something that he needs you to wait and see about this individual. That you need that person to be exposed to that capacity. And in their exposure, then he'll allow you to cut that person off. I remember one time I was dealing with an individual and I kept going back and kept going back. And I'm like, God, why are you letting me go back here? And at one time, it was a person that I was dealing with. And I was like, God, I already said what I said. I already prayed what I prayed. God, I'm done with this individual. And God said, I need you to come back. I'm like, why am I here? And then the Lord showed me. I was like, oh, you wanted me to identify the spirit that was on this individual for the fullness of what that spirit was. Sometimes God will do that to you. That he will allow you to keep going back to something. But it's funny. I was listening to Dion Inez, and she made a perfect point. That people that operate under a monitoring spirit, that they have open doors, and the enemy can use those open doors. Your spirit and their spirit will not gel correctly because it's something wrong with the alignment, because they are a monitoring spirit. Meaning, it's not so much that air godliness, no God in them, is that there's something spiritually off because that spirit is sent to monitor you. And that makes sense, because I used to always wonder why my spirit would be righteously indignant with certain people. And I'm like, God, this person was sent into my, and why is it that I just can't stand their spirit? I can't stand their spirit, and their spirit can't stand me. And it's like, God be like, I needed to show you what spirit you was dealing with so that you would have a recognition. Now you can separate from them. And that's like an unhealthy soul tie. But you have to be wise enough to be able to recognize that so that God can deal with you. But at the same time, and Stephanie P said this once, she was talking about, God, why do I have to go through being in this situation where this person is abusing, verbally abusing, whatever it is, and they are just viciously attacking me, and I'm supposed to sit under this? Sometimes God will allow you to go through it so that you will not be prone to allowing yourself to go through it again. But in other cases, he's trying to show the other individual that you're a good person. And no matter what they do to you, you're not going to react to them the same way that they react to you, which makes them even further more angry because they got that obsessive, envious, jealous, just horrifying element of themselves. And because of that, that element is what, how do I put it? It's that element that makes them feel convicted and hate you even more, is what I'm trying to say. Because you're not going to react like they're going to react when they come at you. But some of us be like, why do I have to sit in the persecution so that they can get the point? That's why we have to go through levels of deliverance, because of the fact that we could become bitter when the Lord allows us to go through persecutions like that. Because we like, God, I don't want Judas amongst my people. I don't want the person that is going to try to kill me amongst me. Can you just send me Matthias first? But what happens is, in those people that push you toward your destiny, even if we don't want them there. Why? Because you become too comfortable if you're surrounded by people that make you feel comfortable. But the person that makes you feel uncomfortable will force you to move when God needs you to move. Because it's usually that person that's going to be the one that's going to make you uncomfortable when God needs you to move. In the seasons he needs you to shift. We always want that grouping of people that's surrounding us that is comfortable to us. But then God has to use that same group of people to show you, you have made these people gods among men, and then I still got to separate you from these individuals. Relationships is some of the hardest things that you will ever deal with in your spiritual walk. Why? Because you have to be able to be discerning, deciphering, and understanding enough that when these things come into your life, that you're going to deal with things that make you feel uncomfortable. You're going to deal with things that make you feel you can't avoid that. We all wish that we could have surrounding friendships that we never run into problems, but it's a growing season. When you're in a growing season, it's not the person that's so much the problem. It's the thing that is the lesson that you need to learn within that season. And God will allow that person to be amongst your grouping of people because he can use them to help prune and sand you down. Those parts of you that are rough, those parts of you that he will use these individuals. And we the ones that are always like, I don't need them because I don't want to become hard. I don't want to have to become that person that's always got to. But in order to go into the spaces and the places that we're called to walk into as children of God, especially if God gave you a purpose, you're going to need to have that rough edge about you. You're going to need to have that edge that says, I'm going to tell you where it is and what you got to do with it. Where you're going to need to put your holier, not so much holier than thou, but that holy Christian cap off and put on the businesswoman that everybody thinks is a bitch. I saw a minister that I follow. She's quite nice on a day-to-day basis. This was an in-between moment that somebody had did something that wasn't supposed to be done, which she was doing just a flow moment with the people. And somebody called her phone that wasn't supposed to call her. And she flipped out. And I was like, wow. But you got to realize, I can be on this phone with you nice and sweet and kind. But there are certain things that when you are dealing with, especially due to the fact, the type of balance that we must maintain as children of God with our lives and our lifestyles, that, yeah, we're going to have to put our foot down. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about wise as serpents, gentle as doves. Sometimes it takes gaining that level of wisdom to understand that you can't always be the gentle as a dove. This is why people don't like Tiffany Montgomery. Oh my God, I don't like her because she needs to be nicer. When you have to stomp a demon down, you can't walk up to the demon. Hey, how you doing? In the name of Jesus, I'm going to tell you. Sometimes you got to be wise as a serpent when you got a Judas amongst you. And Judas to stay there, but you're going to be the person that's observing Judas and watching what he do. To make sure that you understand, you collect the evidence, you gain the wisdom, you determine the understanding. 9 times out of 10, I do this with TV shows as well. 9 times out of 10, I can pretty much gauge something off the bat. I watch an entire season of a TV series. The second that an enemy character walks in the door, I usually can gauge within the first 10 to 15 minutes of watching this individual. That person is going to be a problem. Whether they're going to be a problem this episode or a few episodes down the line, this person's going to be a problem. And 9 times out of 10, I'm right. Because I'm like, I've already determined something up here with this person. I don't care how nice they came off. Some of them came off too nice. That's how I knew it was something wrong with them. The way that person was introduced, I was like, Discernment. God will allow you to have that discernment and have the Judas right amongst you. Because sometimes he allows that because it's something that you need to learn from having this individual in your atmosphere. But it's something that they're also supposed to learn by being around you. But God's conviction is going to deal with them. This is why the counterfeits and a lot of these things, they're going to be dealt with. Because they had the opportunity to be up under you. They had the opportunity to learn from you. They had the opportunity to learn from your spouse. They didn't get nothing from that experience. But they're going to get convicted. They're going to be corrected. And God's going to deal with them. And in some cases, it's their own conviction in the understanding that person didn't do nothing to them wrong. And when that person came to the realization of what they did wrong to them, they more than likely admitted it. In some cases, your spouse admitted to the counterfeit. I didn't want you for anything but. And in some cases, the spouse even told them from the get-go, I didn't want you at the beginning. We came into this relationship with the idea that it was going to be this. But we as women catch feelings. But what's the saying? That love that is turned can turn to hate or something like that. That's the same way obsession comes in. Obsession is a form of admiration for a person, but it's turned in the wrong direction. These people have these things for the individual, and when they no longer have the control anymore, Because what it was always about was a level of control. When they no longer have control over the direction of whether that person is controllable by them, that's when they start acting a fool. Because now they no longer have that level of control. But some of us be like, well, why did you allow? Some of us, we allowed it. This is why. I tell you, I've told you this before. Some people don't listen to me. This is why I wash people out my hair. And it works. If I have an issue, I pray about something and wash it out of my hair. When I wash out my hair, that person be gone within a matter of. They show me who they are and they gone. You have to know, and you have to allow the Lord to lead you. Because God will show you who an individual is. But he will also show you, I need them to stay around for a little while because it's something I need you to get from them in this process. Because sometimes God will allow that person, because remember, Elisha and Elisha was associated with each other. Moses and Joshua were right next to each other. Moses was going to be deposed. Moses wasn't going into the promised land, but he got everything from Moses. Joshua got everything from Moses because he was right up under him. Same thing with Elisha and Elisha. Elisha got everything he needed from Elijah, and he was right up under him. David, Saul. Sometimes your enemy has to sit right up under you because you're supposed to get everything that they have. But you can't do it if you're not sitting up under some of them. Some people, if God told you that's your enemy, that person's going to try to kill you. You'd be like, oh, hell no, I'm leaving. I'm done. I'm gone. You expect me to sit here and wait for this person to try? I'm out. And God's like, I need you to stay, because what's going to happen is I'm going to bless you with everything that they thought that they was going to get, because I'm going to pour it on you when I replace them with you. But you be sitting up there like, I don't want to be up under this person. I can't stand this person. This person's thoroughly disrespecting me. I can't. And God's like, Judas is going to give you everything. David, Saul's going to give you it. You're going to get the kingship and everything associated with it. But you got to sit in this uncomfortable space as the armor bearer that's going to darn near get killed by everything that Saul would be doing. God, why? Because I need you there, because you're going to learn everything, because you're learning it from a lower position. You have the eyes to see, the ears to hear, and you get to operate in observation because you sitting right up under the king. But they disrespecting me. Yeah, they gonna disrespect you. And the day that I pull them out position, guess what? I'm gonna replace them with you, and you already know the game because you had to sit there and learn it. But there's so many people that are sitting up there like, I want it for myself. I won't be in that position. Let me be in that position. That's why you ain't never gonna get the position, because you're trying to steal it. And God strategically plants his people directly next to the person that he's about to pull down. And then you learn all of the ropes from a second-hand position. And then when he's ready to slide you over, pull you out, slide you in, because you was right there. And see how that works? And this wasn't even part of this word, but the Lord gave me that revelation while I was expressing. Elisha, Elijah. David, Saul. Moses, Joshua. So sometimes it's uncomfortable for you to have people that you don't even want around you. But guess what? It's a blessing, because you're gaining wisdom, you're gaining understanding. And in some cases, God allotted you to be around that person so that person could pour into you. all the information you needed so that when you took their place, boom. So sometimes your Judas is necessary. So, that was my revelation. This was the flow that the Lord gave me, and this is it. Until next time, bye bye.